The richest man in your town died last Tuesday. He mopped floors for 42 years. $8 million. Nobody knew. Not his neighbors. Not the school where he worked. Not even the nephew who drove him to the pharmacy every second Thursday because he never bought a second car. And here's what should keep you up tonight. He only made 3 moves. 3. You could make all of them before the end of this month. But first, you need to see how everyone found out. Because that's where your story starts. You're at the funeral, not because you knew him well. Nobody did, really. You knew him the way a town knows a fixture. Ronald, the janitor at the elementary school, gray coveralls, thermos, a wave from the parking lot at 6 a.m. 40, maybe 50 people in the pews. Folding chairs in the back stay empty. Then the lawyer stands up. She's not from town. Charcoal suit, leather folder, the kind of stillness that means she's done this before, but never quite like this. She reads one sentence. Ronald James Reed has left $8,186,000 to the library and the hospital. The room does something you'll never forget. It doesn't gasp. It goes quiet. The specific quiet of 80 people rerunning every memory they have of a man in coveralls, looking for the money in them and finding nothing. The flannel shirt held together with a safety pin. The 2007 Toyota. The coupons. $8 million. You drive home and you can't let it go, because you make more in a year than Ronald ever did. You've always made more. And your net worth is a car loan, a credit card, and a 401k you check twice a year and wince at. So that night, you do what almost nobody in that room will do. You find out exactly how he did it. And what you find is not a secret. That's the unsettling part. It's 3 moves, sitting in plain sight. So simple, they're almost insulting. Here's the first thing the paperwork shows. Ronald never bought what the money could get him. He bought the thing that makes the money. Every payday janitor's salary, 16, later maybe 22,000 a year, a slice went into shares, utilities, railroads, banks, consumer brands, companies he could explain in one sentence, companies that paid dividends. And here's the detail that changes how you see your own paycheck. He never sold. Not in the crash of '87. Not in 2000. Not in 2008, when the bank stocks he owned were getting cut in half and every voice on television was screaming fire. His stack of stock certificates was 5 inches thick. He kept them in a safe deposit box and let them sit there for 5 decades. Dividends, buying more shares. Those shares, paying more dividends. A machine feeding itself in the dark. Now, freeze that image. Because at this exact moment, in your version of the story, your phone buzzes. It's a payment reminder. $612. The financing on a couch you stopped noticing 8 months ago. Same paycheck ritual as Ronald. Opposite direction. He bought things that paid him every quarter. You bought things that charge you every month. That's the entire fork in the road, not income. Direction. Run the math he ran, with today's numbers. $300 a month into a boring index fund at the market's long-term average. 10 years, roughly $52,000. 25 years, about $250,000. 42 years, Ronald's timeline, you clear $1 million on $300 a month. He didn't beat the market. He just never got out of its way. And his second move is the one that would have made your neighbors laugh at him right up until Tuesday. A 2024 Lending Club study found 48% of Americans earning over $100,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Half of six-figure America is broke with better lighting. Ronald's second move was refusing to perform. The car stayed a Toyota. The house stayed the house. When his flannel lost a button, he used a safety pin, a man worth more than everyone in the diner combined, fixing a $19 shirt. Was some of it extreme? Sure. You don't need the safety pin. But look at what the Invisibility actually bought him. Every dollar of status he didn't buy became shares. But deeper than that, nobody ever asked him for money. Nobody sold him upgrades. Nobody moved his goalposts. While everyone else's cost of living climbed one Instagram post at a time, his stayed nailed to the floor for 4 decades. Now the contrast character. Yours is Kyle. Kyle from your office. Kyle of the leased BMW X5 $841 a month. Kyle of the lake house updates and the Rolex Submariner he calls an investment. Kyle looks rich the way a movie set looks like a city. Walk around the back, scaffolding, and debt. You know, because he told you after 2 beers, the 4%, $401K contribution. For now, the now that's lasted 9 years. Here's the question the funeral planted in you. If Kyle died Tuesday, what would the lawyer read out loud? The town would have bet everything on Kyle over Ronald. The town would have been wrong by about $8 million. Wealth, you can see, is a costume. Wealth that's real is invisible, right up until the one day it isn't. But moves 1 and 2 only work because of move 3. And move 3 is the one nobody wants to hear, because it's the only one that costs something real. The third move is brutally simple. He never interrupted the machine. Not once in 5 decades. No panic selling. No, just this once withdrawal for a kitchen. No lifestyle upgrade at 50, because he'd earned it. Here's what that discipline was actually worth. Compounding is quiet for a horrifyingly long time, and then it's loud all at once. Ronald's first decade probably built less than $60,000, numbers a coworker would shrug at. But his last decade likely built more than the first 30 combined. The final years of compounding do most of the lifting, and they only arrive for people who didn't quit in the boring middle. Most people quit in the boring middle. Now the version of the story where you don't. It's a Tuesday, 3 weeks after the funeral. Nothing special about it, which is exactly the point, because every real turn in this story happens on an ordinary day. You open your banking app and set up one automatic transfer. The day after payday, money moves into an index fund before you ever see it. You cancel the couch financing early. You leave the Toyota parked where Kyle can see it. Nobody claps. The fridge hums. Your life looks exactly the same from the outside. Year 1, the balance is small enough that Kyle would smirk. Year 5, it's the size of a new BMW, except it grows while his rusts. Year 12, it quietly passes Kyle's net worth, and he has no idea, because you never said a word. Year 20, the dividends alone pay your property taxes. You are becoming Ronald, except you started with a bigger salary and better tools than he ever had. He did it blind, on coveralls money, with paper certificates in a box. You have every advantage he never had. The only thing he had that you don't is that he'd already started. So back to that quiet room at the funeral. 80 people rerunning their memories, looking for the money and finding nothing. Here's the truth you take out of that room. They found nothing because the money was never in the visible part of his life. It was in the part nobody claps for, the transfer on payday, the upgrade not taken. The boring decade in the middle he refused to quit. 3 moves. Own things that pay you. Stay invisible while they do. Never interrupt the machine. Somewhere in your town, right now, there's another Ronald, waving from a parking lot at 6 a.m., fixing a shirt with a safety pin, and nobody will know until the lawyer stands up. The only question that matters is the one you already know the answer to. When the lawyer stands up at your funeral, which story does she read? If you want to see what your life actually looks like 10 years after making these 3 moves the day nothing feels the same anymore, that's the next video. It's already waiting for you.